We're now joined by Aggy Moiloa,
Yeah.
the Inspector General with the Department of Employment and Labour, who was also the keynote speaker at this year's conference with Saiosh. Thank you for joining us and for giving us a few of your valuable minutes as well.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I want to start off by asking you if you can share with us a little bit more information with regards to the OHS vision for 2029.
Yeah. The fundamental vision, if I was to sum it up, is that we'd like to see a different picture when we look into the landscape of occupational health and safety in workplaces, particularly in terms of compliance, which is going to be voluntary, not malicious, because we do pick up a lot of malicious compliance and compliance for the sake of staying out of trouble with the law. We'd like to see a whole lot of involvement of key role players from the grassroots all the way up. Because the spirit of OHS is that if you look at the whole risk assessment and the responsibilities that are allotted to both employers and employees, there must be a dialogue. So what we see is that it seems to be a top-down approach where most of the companies get consultants to put risk assessments together for them, which sometimes don't even relate to the nature of the work that they're doing. So talk about issues of health, make it a culture, normalize it, make sure that everyone understands, and let people be trained, put the right people in right places, even those that are drivers and champions of compliance with occupational health and safety. They should be qualified to do so. They should have the passion. Yeah, basically that's the vision, if I was to, just in a nutshell. So we're just saying, everyone jump into the bandwagon, because this thing, we're not going to be able to tackle it if we don't get people that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Within Vision 2029, actually, what you've mentioned this morning with regards to Vision Zero also fits into that picture as well. And one of the elements that you mentioned is a focus should be placed on the creation of a health and safety culture at work. What will be the role and the involvement, and how will the Department of Employment and Labour get involved a little bit more with the public and employers to set about the process of creating such a culture, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Exactly, precisely. We value communication, and that is why we are here. So you can never have too much advocacy. Our department is very big on advocacy. Actually, as a matter of principle, even when our inspectors go out to conduct inspections, within the whole model, there must be an element of advocacy. Where we share information, we teach each other. We also are we receive feedback. Sometimes we find that there are issues in our law that could be problematic, and that is why we continue to review. And that feedback is valuable. So it's advocacy, we put a premium on that. Learn, and bring in the right people to learn. And then the other role that we play, we conduct the actual inspections. And when we conduct inspections, we do it with the employers, with the workers, and that is why one of the first things that we do when we get to any workplace, we ask, are there any unions here?
Yeah.
Are there any members of the Health and Safety Committee?
Yes.
So that when we take, because OHS inspections are very involving. There's a whole risk assessment that, depending on the size of the company and the nature of the business, it can be anything from a few paragraphs to, loads and loads of information. So you need to take everyone on board, and we also play almost the role of a facilitator.
Yes.
You facilitate solutions even.
Yes.
So even when after we're done with inspections, we sit you down, we say, we've gone through your workplace, we've picked up 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the gaps. We give people time to comply. And even when within the time that you've given you, and if you feel that you're not ready, all you have to do is to talk to us.
Yeah.
Talk to us and say, you know what, you've given us 6 months to comply. Because it depends on what it is that needs to be put in place. And we understand that some of the things could be costly in terms of finances, in terms of human resources, and. We're amenable to that. As long as you can prove that you're trying and you are willing to comply,
Yes.
then we tag along. Yeah.
I think there's a large existing perception currently in the country with regards to the role that the Department of Employment and Labour is playing, especially in terms of the inspections being done specifically focused on health and safety.
Yeah.
That there's a large element of fear. You mentioned the speed cop or the police officer running around from workplace to workplace, giving everybody a hiding, hitting them with a stick. And it sounded to me this morning like you're on a very large drive to change that perception.
Precisely.
Where did this drive come from, and why was it decided to shift this perspective towards a more relationship building kind of focus rather than being policed all the time?
We feel that model is going to take us far because it's going to enhance the culture of compliance. Compliance should come naturally. And when that happens, half of our job will be done. So unlike us being seen as people that are coming in, just to lash at you and to put you on the straight and narrow, so to say, we're saying we are partners in the space of compliance. We want you to make it your business to comply so that we can release resources, the scanty resources that we have, to some far-flung areas where we haven't been in years. It's not unusual to go to a workplace where, if you were to ask us a question, when was the last OHS inspector in this place? Some will tell you, for the last 10 or so years, I've never seen anyone. So I'd like to incentivize voluntary compliance. Actually, as a matter of interest, one of the delegates was saying to me, and I think it's something that I really have taken to heart, that why don't you, instead of just saying you're complying, why don't you give us a certificate of compliance, which is percentage-based? Tell us that you are 80% compliant. You have that certificate, which would incentivize you in your business.
Yes.
Because it will form a package of your, what you have as your, things that you can bargain with when you want to expand your
and
business.
it's also evidence to the employees that
Sure.
that you're doing what you're supposed to do, so they can feel at ease that the employer is looking after them. So there's a whole range of benefits to that.
No, definitely.
My last question, and it's probably the most important one that I took down here. You mentioned that in terms of overall compliance, based on the number of inspections that were done, you mentioned 1.2 million inspections that were done. That the measurement of compliance is between 45 and 60%, and that's absolutely ridiculous. It's not enough. We need to do more. With that being said, we spoke about the amendment bill, the promulgation of the new act. When can we expect this act to be promulgated? You mentioned it's on 99.9% complete. Do we have a timeline for this?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because the timeline also involves things that are out of our control. There are dependencies that one needs to talk about. When it comes to the administrative process, everything is almost done. I can assure you that in, where are we now? We are in August, no? By mid-September, we would have done everything from an administrative point of view.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
But then it wouldn't mean that the bill is
It
long.
doesn't mean it's finished. Yeah.
Yes.
There's still steps to take.
There's still steps to take,
Okay.
and there's no telling how long this is going to take, because it needs to go to cabinet and those processes that are really outside the scope of the department. What is happening, if I was to summarize it, it's just the cosmetic part of the bill, just to put it in the right format. So there's a legal formatting issue.
Right.
But in terms of content, it's 100% done.
Okay, fantastic.
We have consulted with the role players, labor, business. It has been to NEDLEC on more than one occasion.
Okay.
It's been to the state attorneys. It's been to the Department of, I just forgot the name of the department, but
no worries.
Just to test its compliance with the Constitution and a socio-economic impact.
Okay.
We've got a certificate of compliance in that regard. So as you can tell, we've made some serious and critical progress.
Yeah.
And what is remaining is the part that mostly would then involve Parliament and hopefully by next year.
All right.
Early.
All right.
Yeah,
well, we
but
are
it's
really
difficult
looking forward to it. And
Yeah.
like you've mentioned, based on the stats that you gave, for compliance. And if we think about the incidents that have taken place, I'm not going to mention them now, specifically the one that happened here in the Western Cape.
The Georgia.
Yes, it seriously needs to be addressed, and we're excited for it. So thank you for all the hard work that you're doing in this regard. Thank you for speaking with us once again this morning, and all the best and good luck. And
Thank you.
yeah, we love speaking with you again sometime.
Thank you.
Thank